Born in December 1971, 15-year-old British boy Mark Garvey lived with his mum, stepdad and 3 siblings in Bootle, Liverpool, in the north of England. Mark was raised in a close-knit family and got on well with his brothers and sisters. He was also bright and really excelled in school. Mark's biggest passion was for his beloved local football team, Everton FC. He regularly attended games and was an official member of the club's young supporters group, the Young Evertonians. On March 2, 1987, Mark made the 3-mile journey from his home in Bootle to his girlfriend's house in West Derby. He left with nothing more than the cost of a return bus ticket and the final parting words to his mother, "Mum, I'm going now." When Mark arrived at his girlfriend's house, however, he was surprised to find his best friend was there too. An argument would ensue, and Mark would walk away visibly distressed and emotional. Mark was spotted for the final time at a nearby bus stop and was never heard from again. Dot Hughes, Mark's mother, waited anxiously for her usually very reliable son to arrive home. This was a time before mobile phones, but despite this, Mark would always find a payphone or call from a friend's home phone if he was going to be late. As midnight struck, Dot knew that something wasn't right. The police were called and the search for Mark Garvey would begin. Mark's girlfriend confirmed that he had arrived at her house and had also left shortly after in tears. It was soon confirmed that Mark was sighted waiting at his bus stop near the Jolly Miller pub on Queen's Drive, though it's not publicly known who saw Mark or how this sighting was confirmed. Police questioned everyone at Mark's school, but no information was garnered from this. A public awareness campaign was launched, but no tips were forthcoming. Mark's parents arranged for an announcement to be made over the public address system at Everton Football Club's Goodison Park Stadium. A search utilising tracker dogs was undertaken at nearby Walton Park. Again, nothing was found. Mark was known to love London, so his parents would walk the streets of the city searching for him. They would check into fast food restaurants, thinking that perhaps, if Mark had run away, he may be working in one of them. Just 3 months into the search, the case would turn cold. It would be 3 years before another lead emerged. Mark's mum received an anonymous letter in the mail from a person who was, quote, 90% sure they had seen Mark in Croydon, South London, some 250 miles from Bootle. The writer claimed that Mark was with another boy from Liverpool and that the pair were looking for work. The validity of the letter is not known, the claims in it are not verifiable, and the writer could not be traced. Over the years, Mark's family would keep up the search, and Dot would regularly speak to the media in an attempt to keep her son's name in the spotlight. After the initial 3-month search, it seemed that police had exhausted all leads, and with no tips forthcoming, Mark's case grew ever colder. It's been 34 years since Mark Garvey vanished, and not a single trace of him has ever been found. Theories in Mark's case are wide open, as nothing at all is known about what happened to him after being sighted at the bus stop on Queen's Drive. It's not known if Mark got on his bus, but got off at another location. It's not known if Mark took a different bus to a different location. Could Mark have accepted a lift from a stranger or from someone he knew? Did Mark decide to walk home, or to perhaps walk somewhere else? He was emotionally distressed at the time. Perhaps he thought the walk would help. One theory in the case is that Mark possibly ran away, which could have been as a result of his emotional state, having just found his girlfriend with his best friend, or something that he'd already been thinking about anyway. Of note is the fact that Mark had saved a large sum of money for an upcoming school trip to Paris. Mark didn't take any of this money with him. Mark is also not known to have been experiencing any personal or family issues. His behaviour had not changed in the lead up to his disappearance, and he was not known to keep secrets. Though, of course, Mark may have been experiencing problems or keeping secrets that he simply hadn't divulged to anyone. If he did run away, he did so with no money, no clothing, no transport, and no known support. Of course, if he ran away with or to someone else, then these things may not have been issues at all. To some, the anonymous letter received by Dot may lend credence to the runaway theory. Another theory is that, in his emotional state, Mark harmed himself in some way. Mark's body has never been found, and there is no way of ruling this theory in or out. In fact, it can't be ruled out that Mark's emotional state is a total red herring in the case. The final theory in Mark's case is that he may have come to harm either in an accident or intentionally by a stranger or someone he knew. Could Mark have been abducted from the bus stop or while walking home? Could he have been abducted from an alternative location, having taken a different bus route? Could he have accepted a lift and been abducted that way? Could Mark have been killed in a robbery gone wrong or in a hit and run? This certainly doesn't seem likely, as most people killed in this way are left at the scene of the crime and inevitably found. Could Mark have fallen victim to an opportunistic killer or even a serial killer? No known killers have been linked to Mark's case. Of course, that's only known killers. Could he have been murdered by a serial killer who remains at large? At present, all of these questions remain unanswerable. And despite all of these possibilities, the reality is that we, the police, and Mark's family have next to nothing to go on in his case. In 2019, Mark's father sadly passed away without ever finding out what happened to his son. Mark has siblings that were born years after his disappearance that he has never met. Mark's family remain hopeful that they can bring him home and still work to this day to raise awareness of his case. At the time of his disappearance, Mark Garvey was 15 years old and is described as a white male with a pale complexion and freckles. He had brown hair, brown eyes, and stood at 5 feet 3 inches tall with a slim build. He was last seen at a bus stop near the Jolly Miller pub on Queen's Drive. He may have appeared distressed or have been crying. If alive today, Mark would be 49 years old. If you have any information related to this case, please call Crimestoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111.